Hola chicos, so let's discuss the third and final part of Picasso dedicated to his later works. So during this time period, it's basically a mixture of styles and colors and paintings. He doesn't have a definite movement to follow or anything that we can say that defines his style. For example, we can see this portrait of painter that he would do after Greco, for example, and he would focus more towards the creation of his museum. It's also the time when Olga dies and he buys a new house in Cannes. He moves there with Jacqueline. He paints his collection of Don Quixote that I'll show you an example in a minute. He also paints his collection of Las Meninas that were donated to the Barcelona Museum later on. And it's also when the opening of the Barcelona Museum happens. We have some documents connected to it here. And the donation that he did for the museum as well. Also, his one of the paintings that he did for the Don Quixote collection, one of the paintings that we saw at the beginning of the course, and then one of the most popular paintings from the Las Meninas collection, together with one of the first sketches that he created. Sometime later, he would marry to Jacqueline, and they moved back to Mougins. Around this time, he would do, as we said, like different styles, but also he would have an intense engraving work for around 2 years. During the time the museum was trying to open, it would be called the Sabartés collection originally, because of the opposition of Picasso to the Franco regime, so they didn't want to call it directly the Picasso Museum. And then Sabartés, his friend, dies, and Picasso donates Sabartés' Blue Period portrait and the series of Las Meninas to the museum. And sometime later, he would make a large donation to the museum, again, with 900 works that were kept at the family home in Barcelona. So they were more works of his early years, but still quite interesting. It had an impact as well in the press. Then, luckily enough, he had 8 paintings included in the Louvre Museum, and it's the first time a living artist had a work hung there. It's funny because a long time before this, he was accused actually of stealing La Mona Lisa, which is weird because he was both accused for stealing a piece of the museum and then his works were included in the collection. During his final days, he also did a couple of self-portraits that he was so fascinated with, and they served us as a way of seeing him and how he evolved not only as a painter but also as a person. I have a video here for you that I wanted to show you, and that shows Picasso in action. Well, you can see how easy it was for him to do different creations very quickly. Unfortunately, he died in 1973 at the age of 92, so he had a very long and active life, but It seems that he had a heart attack when he was preparing for an exhibition that he was very interested in. The day before, he had been painting, and we can say, in the end, painting was his one and only true love. He was buried in France in the gardens of Vauvenargues Castle on the 10th of April, and his death had also a big impact in the Spanish world and press. La muerte del genio, Picasso ha muerto. When one dies, he takes the colors with him, and then the canvas is left forever without any paint. And more headlines about his death. In 1978, his private collection is donated to the Louvre Museum by his wife, though she was not very willing to do so at the beginning. And I only have to say that my recommendation for you would be to watch this wonderful series called Genius. And there is one dedicated to Picasso that has Antonio Banderas, of course, as the main character, but he does a really, really good job, and this show is really, really good. And about Picasso, we can just say that he was always young, and he will remain always Picasso. Thank you.